Professional victim fatigue. Holy shit. I think so many people are tired of this.
I just wish there was something I could do for you all. Like, improve public safety for disabled folks every day, you know?
Hands over a mask.
No, thank you.
For those of you who are confused, no, this masking video is not from 2020. It was released recently, like a month ago, and you have someone who is still saying that everyone has to wear a mask for COVID, because if you don't, then you're a bad person who deserves to be shamed for wanting to live your life normally. This person actually does a lot of masking propaganda, so let's see why.
Why do you talk about masks all the time? Because the pandemic never ended. The government just removed emergency status and normalized sacrificing our most vulnerable.
So this person who, by the way, works from home and doesn't have to deal with masking for an 8-hour shift is suggesting that we go back to some of the lockdown policies of a couple years ago.
I see. So they're trying to make rules for everybody else.
That crashed the economy, threw a bunch of people into poverty, and damaged everyone's mental health. All for a disease that's basically killing nobody these days.
If you guys aren't masking, I'm not going to be around you.
You should go out more.
Now, I don't want to say what they all have in common, but one thing they all have in common is they're all wearing nose rings. Isn't that crazy? It's like every single one. Holy shit, what are the odds?
It better be free. If I'm going out, it has to be free. And there needs to be barely anyone in sight.
Really?
Because, COVID and people aren't masking.
For context, both of those videos...
One of the ways that she could decrease the risk of COVID to herself is losing weight. A lot of the people that COVID killed were fat. Being overweight is a comorbidity.
...were filmed this year. Everyone is just tired of this type of person constantly playing victim.
Exactly. I think people are generally fatigued with these weird professional victims in every single, space of life.
Ones who play the victim game are always the most sociopathic, self-centered, and awful people.
Absolutely.
So no one's being fooled by this fake compassion anymore.
You should mask anywhere you think disabled people deserve to exist in safety. P.S. That's every public place.
Yes.
For the record, this person's claiming that she's disabled because she's slightly autistic. Now,
I believe her. Yeah, I think she's telling the truth. I think she's, yep.
For one, never getting sick is bad for your immune system and makes you more vulnerable. Two, being alive always carries risk, and nobody is masking every time they go outside forever in the extremely small chance they come across someone who has a compromised immune system and can't mask if they want to. Like, that's such a rare thing that realistically, I think this person's just overly fearful of catching COVID and is saying, what about these marginalized communities, to pretend that she isn't being selfish.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they do. And this is what's also, I'm actually really glad he's bringing up this point. These people use marginalized groups that they are oftentimes not even a part of as kind of leverage in order for them to push their worldview, in order for them to make people do what they want, basically.
This pink-haired person is Courtney, who is a 28-year-old asexual autistic person with low support needs who also has ADHD. Did I get all those tags perfectly correct? I wouldn't want to be called a bigot.
Oh my gosh, I had an autistic meltdown this weekend and went nonverbal. Actually, that would be a verbal shutdown. Huh? Because being non-speaking or nonverbal is the permanent state of using words and other forms besides voice. You don't experience that, and you don't have to co-opt someone else's language to describe that experience.
These are the people, by the way, that get into positions of power at HR and other types of moderation places in society, and then they want to tell you how to live.
Basically, all of Courtney's content is centered around what level of the victim tier you're on, and she seems to revel in collecting various diagnoses like autism and ADHD, so she can use that to claim that she is disabled and therefore oppressed, which really is just a personality trait that everyone finds annoying, because ultimately, the reason that they're playing the victim oppression game is to shield themselves from any criticism of their behavior.
That's exactly right. Yeah, anytime that you attack them, you're attacking their disability or their identity, and then you're a bad person.
Once you see the bad haircut and the pink hair, you know this person's going to be annoying and offended by everything.
Yeah, they're just annoying and obnoxious.
I mean, was I wrong? Is the stereotype incorrect?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, is this what you look like without the pink anime character hair? Jeez, this is what 4 years of college will do to a person.
I have multiple disabilities and I never behave like this. I apologize for sometimes being hard to deal with instead. Listen, bro, everybody knows that a bunch of attention-starved, bored, white liberal Karens that live in an upper middle class family are not responsible for every disabled person. We know they are an invasive species. They are. They're an invasive species. And Nobody's blaming you. Nobody thinks you did anything wrong. You're not in the same group as them, and you know it, I know it, and everybody else knows it.
Allow me to use this next segment to point out how their demeanor completely shifts the minute they feel they have the opportunity to fight dirty and victimize the people they don't like. She complains about being harassed while at the same time tells her followers to harass me, cries to Noah Sampson about it so he would tell his followers to harass me.
This is one of the reasons why I talk about these issues, is that I hate these people. I really do. They've bullied enough people on the internet to never criticize or push back against them, but I'm just not one of them. I like pushing back against them, and to the extent that they get upset about it, it makes me happy. So that's fine. You want to be a victim? Okay. Sounds good to me. Keep in mind, they're the ones that are the bullies. They're the ones that are going out and trying to destroy people's livelihoods, get them fired from their jobs. These people have no problem doing any of that stuff, but the moment that anybody criticizes them, even legitimately, they cry that they're being oppressed.
How is it okay for you to make multiple videos saying everyone who doesn't wear a mask everywhere in public is a bad person, followed by passive-aggressively wishing disability on those who refuse to mask? But if I say I don't like pink hair, then you feel like you're morally justified in sending your audience to try to deplatform me.
Exactly, yes. And this is what I've said before. People don't want to defund the police. They want to be the police. And once you understand that all of the language is just in service of them maintaining a power structure for themselves, everything else makes sense.
I mean, holy shit, these people are ridiculous. I will be fighting Courtney's abuse of the copyright system. There's an exception to copyright called fair use, which says that you can use people's copyrighted works for the sake of things like parody, education, or commentary. I'm arguing that my use of Courtney's content is fair use.
It's obviously fair use. And she knows that.
I'm going to be brief on these specific reasons for why Courtney is screwed. The amount of damages that she's legally allowed to pursue for copyright infringement of that 10-second clip, it's almost nothing compared to how much it would cost to sue me. She would be putting a second mortgage on that pink house to afford it.
Jesus.
That's if she wins. However, if she loses, which is very likely, it would be incredibly easy for me to prove that her takedown was malicious, which means I can countersue for my lawyer fees, and that won't be cheap for her. So let me be very clear when I say that if somebody were to put me through a massive waste of time lawsuit like that and didn't have the liquid cash to pay for it, I would be brutal in trying to seize every single piece of property that they value until the fees were paid. And if you want to get so pissy about someone criticizing your pink hair that you turn it into a legal battle, then I'll make sure that you understand why it's a stupid idea to file a lawsuit against somebody because your feelings got hurt. Because once you stop being emotional about this, you're going to realize how financially stupid this was for you. I filed a counterclaim and she backed down, probably because she doesn't have a lawyer or any actual understanding of how the law works, and she doesn't want to lose a lawsuit. Let me further emphasize how stupid it is to not consult legal counsel for stuff like this, because Courtney 100% does not know how to shut the up. So after she made that post telling everyone to mass flag my channel,
she's trying to sue
she made
people?
a YouTube community post talking about my video where people were happy to confirm that they were mass flagging my video that broke no rules, which again violates YouTube's community guidelines. Here's evidence of that. The great thing about this post is that it helps my case for fair use. Her calling me alt-right and transphobic is a public admission that our viewpoints are diametrically opposed. Thanks, Courtney. That'll make it much easier to argue in a court of law that my commentary is transformative and fair use because I'm arguing a viewpoint that opposes yours. The great part is that she deleted this post, another indicator that she doesn't have a lawyer because deleting evidence like that is called spoliation, and there are penalties for that in court. I mean, she'd have to be an idiot to think I didn't save it.
If you're found to be deleting evidence that could basically make you look bad, let's just go ahead and use a little bit of common sense here. Why would somebody want to delete evidence about themselves like that? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because they're trying to hide the truth. That's why.
Here's a comment where she's openly acknowledging that she told her followers to go harass me and how much she appreciates them doing that. And last but not least, you could use this comment to argue that the reason that she struck the video is because of the criticism and not because any copyright infringement was committed. Let me just emphasize that we have a ton of evidence that Courtney filed that strike in bad faith.
Of course.
And just as a reminder for those of you who haven't seen the video that she tried to silence that's called Why the LGBT Movement is Failing, note that video was primarily about predators like Lily Tino filming in the Disneyland bathrooms and going into restaurants trying to get people fired in an attempt to go viral on TikTok. Who's the bad person here? Courtney is literally defending child predators and saying, I'm the hateful one because I spent 20 seconds in a video saying I don't like her pink hair. Everybody is tired of people like this. Everybody
Everybody
is tired of adults like this who behave like 5-year-olds, wagging their fingers and telling everyone what to do.
Yes! If your personality is your mental disorders, I don't want to hear about what I need to change in my life from you.
You stop living the life you thought a proper adult should and start living for what brings your inner child joy.
So, when I was a younger guy, I always wanted to hold on to and remember the way I was whenever I was a kid, right? Like, I had a really great childhood growing up. Everything was really good for me. I kind of felt the same way that this girl did. And I think that whenever my mom died, I realized that you can't really ever actually go back. You can't, like, I'm a grown man now. I'm a grown man. I'm in my own life. And, you know, that was the old times. This is the new times. And I feel bad for these people in a way. But the issue that I have is that they're looking for something and they're never going to find it because it doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. Everything about it is gone. I used to be such a sentimental and nostalgic person, and I still am in a lot of ways. But a big part of me changed after that happened, and a couple of other, you know, like big personal events happened in my life. And I stopped constantly reminiscing on being 17 years old. Because for a long time, I was like, okay, and I still believe this. I believe I was born rich, you know? I had two parents that loved me. I lived in a nice house, and, you know, I was surrounded by my friends. We didn't have millions of dollars, but, you know, I'd trade millions of dollars to have what I had then again. But I can't do that. I can't have that happen. And so instead of what these people need to do is that instead of trying to recreate your own childhood, why don't you try to have kids and recreate theirs and create theirs for the first time and give them the opportunity to be happy the way that you were? And that's the circle of life, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Whenever I was a young guy, I was getting food stamps. I was on food stamps. Now I'm an adult. I'm making good money. I'm paying it forward to the next generation of do-nothing neats, because one of them might actually do something in the future that might make money for the next generation of do-nothing neats. This is what a proper adult can look like too. Bright hair, colorful clothes, tattoos, plushies, and all. Great. You want to dress like Dora the Explorer? Go ahead. I don't give a. These people are pure evil. They're not pure evil. I think that they have taken permissive liberalism to its logical conclusion, which is I should be able to do whatever I want. I shouldn't have to conform to any social ideals. Everything in the entire world is completely about me. I'm the main character.
Live how you want to live in private. But the minute you start bringing your childish bullshit around me is the minute that I start caring. You start pretending to be a victim as an excuse to treat people like shit is the minute I have a problem.
And that's not even considering the larger community of all disabled folks who also experience chronic stress and dysregulation from unmet accessibility needs and living in disabled bodies in a disability-hostile world.
Right. We live in a disability-hostile world where we have a ton of accommodations and legislation to help disabled people, as well as economic support.
This is the most friendly the world has ever been to disabled people. They used to throw them off a cliff.
I mean, this chick should check out World War II Germany if she wants to see a government that's hostile towards disabled people. But ultimately...
Oh, God.
This line of messaging is not helpful to the people that she claims to be advocating for, which is typical of activism.
And as someone who's black myself and has observed a lot of the mindsets that permeate within the black community, I think the one thing that's holding a lot of us back is the victimhood mentality. I've never been a fan of any group of people looking at me and saying, poor you because of this and that.
He's completely right. I mean, the way that you empower minorities and groups of people like that to succeed is you give them the same opportunities that other people have.
What's worse in Courtney's case, though, is that not only will she tell disabled people to avoid assimilating into normal society as much as they're able to, but also she'll tell them to self-diagnose mental disabilities.
Oh, no, what is this? By the way, how do you have the money to live like this? Peer diagnosis or being validated by another autistic person is very accurate, and that's what I recommend for those people seeking validation outside of healthcare. What is this? So it's like the N-word pass, but for autistic people?
Apparently, this is an entire trend on TikTok.
We've seen the rise of self-diagnosed mental illness. The term neurodivergent went mainstream, which mostly referred to autism and ADHD, and it gained traction on platforms like TikTok, where users self-diagnose, using their conditions as an excuse to shrug off adulthood and evade responsibility in so many cases. People started collecting labels: non-binary, disabled, neurodivergent, polyamorous, and became offended if others didn't properly adhere to them.
Right. Taking pride in how mentally ill you are is the smart thing to do, instead of getting accurate diagnoses and professional help. Just wants to be treated as if they weren't disabled. But then you have people like Courtney who are out here ordering everyone around, calling people evil eugenicists for not complying with her demands. People like Courtney are doing a disservice to everyone who needs help or accommodations to survive.
Fireworks suck because they scare
autistic people.
Autistic and neurodivergent people too. 4th of July is a racist holiday.
Okay, not only do we have to wear a mask everywhere, but now fireworks are bad because they offend autistic people?
And
the 4th of July is racist?
Right.
I have to mask every day, but you can't wear earplugs for a few hours once a year?
I love this video. That is so good. Nobody wants these people around. They're the most obnoxious, annoying, negative people in the entire society. Nobody likes them, not even themselves. They hate the way they look. That's why they constantly change their appearance.
Courtney, maybe it's time to learn how to ignore criticism that you don't like instead of using the typical radical leftist below-the-belt cancel culture tactics, because those don't work anymore.
That's right.
Anyway, thanks for watching.
This was so good. This guy almost has 1 million subscribers. Make sure to give him a sub. These people are like poisonous flowers. They have bright colors to warn of their danger. If you wear a mask, more power to you, but you can't tell people to wear something just to make your life easier. I think that, again, if you want to wear a mask, yeah, that's totally fine. And that's the other problem. They always want to tell everybody else what to do. And that's what I think is so annoying.